Hello, everybody. Good evening. Vincent David Bonifacio here, and I am tasked to discuss diagnosing groups and jobs. So please enjoy as we go through this journey and learn all about group and individual diagnosis. So I will be using the ninth edition Organization Development and Change by Thomas G. Cummings from University of Southern California and Christopher G. Worley from University of Southern California and Pepperdine University as my reference. Actually, this was given to me by Ma'am Sarina Abinoha. Thank you, ma'am. So as shown is the scope of my discussion. The main purpose of diagnosis is to identify existing issues, concerns, and problems in an organization to determine their root causes and respond through an appropriate actions. While it is an accepted practice to diagnose or evaluate all existing branches in an organization, the size, operations, and peculiar variables may lead to a different behavior. Thus, they need to adapt to a more responsive diagnostic models to reflect a realistic and intelligent analysis. First, we should familiarize ourselves with these terminologies. Groups generally consist of a small number of people mastered to perform tasks. Work groups can come in all sizes of organizations, depends on the needs and extent of their work tasks. They can be permanent and perform an ongoing function, or they can be temporary in nature and exist only to perform a certain task or to make a specific decision, like an ad hoc committee or a technical working group. An individual job is constructed to perform a specific task or set of tasks. How jobs are designed can affect individual and organizational effectiveness. Organization design is a process for shaping the way organizations are structured and run. It involves many different aspects of life at work, including informations, shift patterns, lines of reporting, decision making procedures, communication channels, and more. Job design outlines the task duties, responsibilities, qualifications, methods, and relationships required to perform the given set of a job. Moving forward, as shown is the comprehensive model for diagnosing organizational systems. Diagnosis can occur at all three organizational levels, or it may be limited to issues occurring at a particular level. The key to effective diagnosis is knowing what to look for at each level as well as how the levels affect each other. For example, diagnosing a work group requires knowledge of the variables important for group functioning and how the larger organization design affects the group, and a basic understanding of organization level issues is important in almost any diagnosis because they serve as critical inputs to understanding groups and individuals. So allow me to emphasize the figure as shown. This is the group level diagnostic model. The important systems for this model to work are its input, output, and design components. One important input in this model is the organization design. Organization design is clearly the major input to group design. It consists of the design components characterizing the larger organization within which the group is embedded, technology, structure, measurement systems, human resources systems, as well as organization culture. Technology can determine the characteristics of the group's task. Structural systems can specify the level of coordination required among groups. The human resources and measurement systems, such as performance appraisal and reward systems, play an important role in determining team functioning. Systems tend to interfere with team functioning because members may be concerned with maximizing their individual performance to the detriment of team performance. Collecting information about the group's organization design context can greatly improve the accuracy of diagnosis. On the other hand, the five major components also forms part of this system, and at this point forward, we will be talking about the five major design components of this model. Goal clarity involves how well the group understands its objectives, general, goals should be moderately challenging. There should be a method for measuring, monitoring, and feeding back information about the goal's achievement. And the goals should be clearly understood by all members, meaning goals should be realistic, achievable, and clearly understood by all members. Task structure is concerned with how the group's work is designed. Task structures can vary along two key dimensions: coordination of members' efforts and regulation of their task behaviors. The coordination dimension involves the degree to which group tasks are structured to promote effective interaction among group members. Coordination is important in groups performing interdependent tasks such as surgical teams and problem-solving groups. It is relatively unimportant, however, in groups composed of members who perform independent tasks, such as a group of telephone operators or salespeople. The regulation dimension involves the degree to which members can control their own task behaviors and be relatively free from external controls, such as supervision, plans, and programs. Self-regulation generally occurs when members can decide on such issues as task assignments, work methods, production, goals, and membership. Group composition concerns the membership of groups. Members can differ on a number of dimensions having relevance to group behavior. Demographic variables such as age, education, experience, and skills and abilities can affect how people behave and relate to each other in groups. Demographics can determine whether the group is composed of people having task-relevant skills and knowledge, including interpersonal skills. People's internal needs also can influence group behaviors. Individual differences in social needs can determine whether group membership is likely to be satisfying or stressful. In the local setting, people belonging to the same ethnic groups tend to blend together faster than those who are not. Team functioning is the underlying basis of group life. How members relate to each other is important in work groups because the quality of relationships can affect task performance. In some groups, for example, interpersonal competition and conflict among members result in them providing little support and help for each other. Conversely, groups may become too concerned about sharing good feelings and support and spend too little time on task performance. In organization development, considerable effort has been invested in helping work group members develop healthy interpersonal relations, including an ability and a willingness to share feelings and perceptions about members' behaviors so that interpersonal problems and task difficulties can be worked through and resolved. Group functioning therefore involves task-related activities such as advocacy and inquiry, coordinating and evaluating activities, and the group maintenance function, which is directed toward holding the group together as a cohesive team and includes encouraging, harmonizing, compromising, setting the standards, and observing. Performance norms are members' beliefs about how the group should perform its task and include acceptable levels of performance. Norms derive from interactions among members and serve as guides to group behavior. Once members agree on performance norms, either implicitly or explicitly, then members routinely perform tasks according to those norms. For example, members of problem-solving groups often decide early in the life of the group that decisions will be made through voting. Then voting then becomes a routine part of the group task behavior. For the output, group effectiveness has two dimensions: performance and quality of work life. Performance is measured in terms of the group's ability to control or reduce costs, increase productivity, or improve quality. This is a hard measure of effectiveness because this measure can be influenced by external variables, like, for example, availability of resources. On the other hand, effectiveness as key indicator by the group members' quality of work life concerns satisfaction, team cohesion, and organizational. So for these group level diagnostic models, certain conditions must be met for this to be uh, effective. And from a particular point of view, this model shows that group design components must have a fit organization design to be effective in their performance and quality of work life. Group design should be congruent with the larger organization design. Organization structures with low differentiation and high integration should have work groups that are composed of highly skilled and experienced members performing highly interdependent tasks. Organizations with differentiated structures and formalized human resources and information systems should spawn groups that have clear, quantitative goals and that support standardized behaviors. The underlying rationale is that congruence between organization and group designs supports overall integration within the company. When group designs are not compatible with organization designs, groups often conflict with the organization. They may develop norms that run counter to the organizational effectiveness, such as occurrence in group supportive of horseplay, goal breaking, and other counterproductive behaviors. When the organization's technology results in interdependent tasks, coordination among members should be promoted by goal clarity. Task structure, group composition, performance norms, and team functioning. Conversely, when technology permits independent tasks, the design components should promote individual task performance. For example, when coordination is needed, task structure might physically locate related tasks together. Group composition might include members with similar interpersonal skills and social needs. Performance norms would support task-relevant interactions, and healthy interpersonal relationships would be developed. When technology is relatively uncertain and requires high amounts of information, processing and decision making, then task structure, group composition, performance norms, and team functioning should promote self-regulation. Members should have the necessary freedom, information, and skills to assign members to appropriate tasks, to decide on production methods, and set the performance goals. When technology is relatively certain, group designs should promote standardization of behavior, and groups should be externally controlled by supervisors' schedules and plans. For example, when self-regulation is needed, task structure might be relatively flexible and allow the interchange of members across group tasks. Composition might include members with multiple skills, interpersonal competencies, and social needs. Performance norms would support complex problem solving, and efforts would be made to develop healthy personal relations. So the final level of organizational diagnosis in the individual job or position. So an organization consists of numerous groups. A group in turn is composed of several individual jobs. This section discusses the inputs, design components, and the relational fits needed for diagnosing jobs. So the three major inputs that affect job design, so these are the organization design at the job level, group design, and the personal characteristics of the individual job holders. So organization design is concerned with the larger organization within which the individual job is the smallest unit. Organization design is a key part of the larger context surrounding jobs. Technology, structure, measurement systems, human resource systems, and culture can have a powerful impact on the way jobs are designed and on people's experiences in jobs. For example, company reward systems can orient employees to particular job behaviors and influence whether people see job performance as fairly rewarded. In general, technology characterized by relatively uncertain tasks and low interdependency is likely to support job designs allowing employees flexibility and discretion in performing tasks. Conversely, low uncertainty work systems are likely to promote standardized job designs requiring routinized task behaviors. Group design concerns the larger group or department containing the individual job. Like organization design, group design is an essential part of the job context. Task structure, goal clarity, group composition, performance norms, and team functioning serve as inputs to job design. They typically have a more immediate impact on jobs than do the larger. Organization design components, for example, group task structure can determine how individual jobs are grouped together, as in groups requiring coordination among jobs or in ones comprising collections of independent jobs. Group composition can influence the kinds of people who are available to fill jobs. Group performance norms can affect the kinds of job designs that are considered acceptable, including the level of job holders' performance. Goal clarity helps members to prioritize work, and group functioning can affect how powerfully the group influences job behaviors. When members maintain close relationships and the group is cohesive, Group norms are more likely to be enforced and followed. Personal characteristics or traits of individuals occupying jobs include their age, education, experience, and skills and abilities. All of these can affect job performance as well as how people react to job designs. Individual needs and expectations can also affect employee job responses. For example, individual differences in growth need, the need for self-direction, learning, and personal accomplishment can determine how much people are motivated and satisfied by jobs with high levels of skill variety, autonomy, and feedback about results. Similarly, work motivation can be influenced by people's expectations that they can perform a job well and that good job performance will result in valued outcomes. So the figure shows that individual jobs have five key dimensions: the skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback about results. So skill variety identifies the degree to which a job requires a range of activities and abilities to perform the work. Assembly line jobs, for example, generally have limited skill variety because employees perform a small number of repetitive activities. On the other hand, most professional jobs include a great deal of skill variety because people engage in diverse activities and employ several different skills in performing their work. Task identity measures the degree to which a job requires the completion of a relatively whole, identifiable piece of work. Skilled craftspeople such as tool and die makers and carpenters generally have jobs with high levels of task identity. They are able to see a job through from beginning to end, and assembly line jobs involve only a limited piece of work and score low on the task identity. Task significance identities identifies the degree to which a job has a significant impact on other people's lives. For example, custodial jobs in a hospital are likely to have more task significance than similar jobs in a toy factory because hospital custodians are likely to see their jobs as affecting someone else's health and welfare. Autonomy indicates the degree to which a job provides freedom and discretion in scheduling the work and determining work methods. Assembly line jobs generally have little autonomy. The work pace is scheduled and people perform pre programmed tasks. College teaching positions have more autonomy. Professors usually can determine how a course is taught, even though they may have a limited say over class scheduling. Or in our modern times, the flexi-time approach schedule of some organizations are still practicing until today, or it's considered one of the best practices. Feedback about results involves the degree to which a job provides employees with direct and clear information about the effectiveness of task performance. Assembly line jobs often provide high levels of feedback about results, whereas college professors must often contend with indirect and ambiguous feedback about how they are performing in the classroom. So, those five job dimensions can be combined into an overall measure of job enrichment. Enriched jobs have higher levels of skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback about results. They provide opportunities for self direction, learning, and personal accomplishment at work. Many people find enriched jobs internally motivating and satisfying. For the output, individual effectiveness is the ability of an individual to perform tasks according to standards, and this could be measured through the individual performance, productivity, no record of tardiness or absenteeism, and of course, job satisfaction. So, this could also be met by these conditions. The diagnostic model suggests that job design must fit job inputs to produce effective job outputs, such as highly quality and quantity of individual performance, low absenteeism, and high job satisfaction. Well, research reveals the following fits between job inputs and job design. Job design should be congruent with the larger organization, and group designs within which the job is embedded. Both the organization and the group serve as a powerful context for individual jobs or positions. They tend to support and reinforce particular job designs. Highly differentiated and integrated organizations and groups that permit members to self regulate their behavior fit and reach jobs. These larger organizations and groups promote autonomy, flexibility, and innovation at the individual job level. Conversely, bureaucratic organizations and groups relying on external controls are congruent with job designs, scoring low on the five key dimensions. Both organizations and groups reinforce standardized routine jobs. As suggested earlier, congruence across different levels of organization design promotes integration of the organization, group, and job levels. Whenever the levels do not fit each other, conflict is likely to emerge. Job design should fit the personal characteristics of the job holders if they are to perform effectively and derive satisfaction from work. Generally, enriched jobs fit people with strong growth needs. These people derive satisfaction and accomplishment from performing jobs involving skill variety, autonomy, and feedback about results. Enriched jobs also fit people possessing moderate to high levels of task relevant skills. Abilities and knowledge and rich jobs generally require complex information, processing, and decision making. People must have comparable skills and abilities to perform effectively. Jobs scoring low on the five job dimensions generally fit people with rudimentary skills and abilities and with low growth needs. Simpler, more routinized jobs requiring limited skills and experience fit better with people who place a low value on opportunities for self direction and learning. In addition, because people can grow through education, training, and experience, job design must be monitored and adjusted from time to time. As a recap, we've discussed the comprehensive model for diagnosing organizational systems, focusing on group and individual level diagnosis. We are also able to discuss the inputs, outputs, and design components of this model. Also, we are able to tackle briefly some underlying conditions to the applicability of the comprehensive model. Please reserve your questions during our regular class period. That ends my presentation. Thank you and good day.